Hey, this is Anney.
And Samantha.
And welcome to Stuff I'll Never Told You, a production of iHeartRadio.
And y'all, we are back for another Sex and the City rewatching together with you. Whoever's listening. Or you're just listening to us watch it. And that's okay too.
Mm-hmm.
So as per usual, we are jumping in with the second episode of season 3. But before we start, Anney, can you tell us what happened in episode 1? I'm not going to make you go all the way back because you did that last time, which you did a great job. Just for episode 1. Give us a recap.
Okay, a recap. Well, there was a sexy fireman. Well, we debated about the sexiness, but it was a sexy fireman show. And then I guess I should preface this with Carrie has just broken up with Big. Then this season opens with a sexy fireman show. They're all 4 of the friends are sort of in between places. We've got Carrie thinking about dating a stalkery politician. And in the end, she does go and meet him at a party. And then she tries to catch the last ferry out of Staten Island, but she doesn't. He gives her a ride. We've got Miranda determined to be independent, although she has something that hasn't been defined with ex-Steve. And he's trying to be there for her, at least as a friend, and she's being very adamant that she's independent. And then Samantha gets to live out some fantasies with a firefighter that does result in her being seen in a compromising position, shall we say, by a bunch of people. And then Charlotte has a nice time after a few Staten Island iced teas and gets drunk and decides, I feel like for the 3rd time, she wants a husband and is really determined to get one. So I think that's it. Yeah.
That's her quip. I think that's her thing. That's her niche.
I feel like every season she has a moment where she's like, now I'm
getting married this year. That's her goal. Yes. This is her statement that she's going to do it this year, though. For real. Like she is read The Secret, putting it out into the world. Yes. And so she's going to jump into this. Very nicely done. Very nicely done. Yes. And Anney and I were already talking about the fact that this season is a big season. Like there are so many things that are happening. There are so many things that I'm like, oh no, we're going to have a deep conversation about this because this has aged very badly. Mm-hmm. But then we have, big things happening. And to the point that I thought the big event was going to be, which I remember clearly, that it would be the season finale, but it's not. And I was like, holy crap, this is a huge season. So strap on, everyone, if you haven't. Yeah, I said that way. Anyway, I'm going to keep it that way. But yes, so as per usual, Anney, I'm going to give you the title of this episode. You will make some predictions, and at the end, I will give you a grade.
Oh, no.
You ready? So for this episode is called Politically Erect.
Oh, no. My promise to myself that I would just go for the most obvious answers, I feel like really coming back to bite me now. Okay, so Carrie is dating this politician, and I'm going to assume he... Okay, either somebody has issues getting it up, or maybe she doesn't like his politics, because it's also politically correct. Oh, I don't know. Oh, no. And they go to a club. That's it.
They go to a club. The infamous go to the club. Oh, that ploy. All right, well... Let's see. Let's jump in.
I had been dating politician Bill Kelly for 3 weeks now.
Bill Kelly
Since most
is
of my
the
time with him was spent on the campaign trail, I decided to dress the part. I found some vintage Halston and did a spin on Jackie Kennedy.
And she's also straightening her hair out.
She is. She's dressing the part of a politician's girlfriend.
Yeah, so she's looking like Jackie O-ish, which I love this style, I'm not gonna lie.
It looks good.
You do?
I figured we made a good match. I was adept at fashion. He was adept at politics.
At the heart of this world city is a populace whose passion, love, and devotion to their home.
And really, what's the difference? They're both about recycling shop-worn ideas and making them seem fresh and inspiring.
She's comparing fashion to politics.
They are related. They are related. We've talked about this and the pressure on women specifically,
Yeah,
and how
true.
they dress and what they wear in politics.
So how about a movie Wednesday night?
Wednesday? I'm not sure. I might be working.
Thursday then.
Okay, maybe Thursday. I'll see.
What, do you have plans?
Steve.
She's doing what I do too. Oh no. They're like, maybe, we'll see. Let me think
You do
about
do
it.
that.
I do.
I'm
I'm terrible
like,
at-
wait, I'm assuming that's gonna be a yes until you say no. Like I don't know, because like you're like maybe, and I'm like, so I'm gonna set the time aside
Anybody specific?
for now.
It usually means I'm worried I forgot something else.
Right.
And I need to check.
I'm not dating anyone else. And I'm not planning on dating anyone else.
Oh, this is the DTR.
Oh
I
no.
just want to see you
I'm not planning on dating anyone
see.
else.
Oh, Steve.
exclusively.
Oh,
I got it.
Exclusively.
That's
Are we
very
or aren't
sweet.
we?
I just hadn't thought about things.
which by the way, I
that
forgot to ask what drink you got. What drink do you got?
About it.
It's my special Galaxy G&T for Star Wars Day, which is upcoming as we record
Okay.
this.
I'm drinking a Diet Coke. That's the DTR we had to have.
Yes.
Or the DT drinks. Define the drinks. DTC, define the cocktail or mocktail.
Yeah.
Since when are you interested in politics?
Always. It's a really great way to meet men. And with Carrie by our side, we can just get to meet the inner circle and all
Oh,
the
Charlotte is waiting so that she can meet other politicians, single men. She can become the Jackie O.
Right. I also like her assumption implied that politicians are mostly men, which is true,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
On the swimsuit competition.
The country runs better with a good-looking man in the White House. I mean,
The
look
country
what
runs
happened
better with a
next.
good-looking man in the White House. Ruh-roh.
Oh dear.
I had a college crush on Dan Quayle.
Country needs a president and a
I feel like with Charlotte saying that she had a crush on Dan Quayle, we know that she was Republican.
I have no idea who that is.
Dan Quayle?
Yeah.
Okay, Dan Quayle was the vice president of George Bush Sr. Well, I'm just really surprised you didn't know who that was. I guess I don't know all the vice presidents, and that was in my era.
I was like, that's when I was a baby, though. George
yeah,
Bush.
that was in my era. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Because he had a whole like,
Bush, very bad, Madam Robin.
Like W. Bush, I know.
yeah, yes, man. I also like this level of like, and I don't think they meant to, but like the obvious shallowness of them talking about politics. And this
Yes.
is such a stereotype of women anyway.
Yeah.
I voted for him because he was good looking. I voted
Yeah.
for him, you know, like all these things.
I'll date him if he's hot. Yeah.
Maybe I should just be honest and tell him what I'm really feeling, which is, what if somebody better comes along?
You gotta put a better spin on it than that.
Ouch.
If someone said that to me, I'd be
Yeah,
like,
I'd be
all right,
gone.
goodbye.
Yeah, gone.
Which maybe is good. Maybe she gets it out there.
Yeah.
He moves on.
Things you like about Steve, things you don't
Oh,
like about Steve.
They're writing a
See
list.
which column is longer.
That's so
They're doing the DTR just without him.
Yeah.
You put to good use.
Don't ever make a list that people can find with that kind of stuff on there. That's a bad idea.
Politics that always comes together to me is a new
Experience?
Perhaps. Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
What do you say to dinner Friday night?
I think that might work.
And just as her self-esteem was soaring right off the charts,
Nice to meet
Oh.
you, Pink Lady. I'll give you a call.
Also, what does Pink Lady mean?
I don't
I have
know.
never understood that reference. I don't know if that's like a dated reference or not, or if he just made that up.
A guy asked me,
later that week,
what does you're in the pink mean? And I said, I don't know. And he said, it means your vagina is showing. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. But what he meant was like a flush in your face. It means you're like turned on, I guess.
Oh.
What's the difference?
I'm not sure, actually. I think little person is the proper way to refer to an adult on 5 feet.
Well, and I agreed to go on a date with a very short person. But I didn't realize he was so short.
Short men everywhere. Probably haunted by this.
Yes.
Well, that may be the perfect height.
I'd like to cancel the thing, but I can't just because he's a munchkin.
Oh.
You know, this is a very politically incorrect conversation.
Oh, they're having politically incorrect conversations. I should have known.
Yes. Yep.
If you'll excuse me, I have to go mingle because there are a lot of cute guys here, and these things never last beyond 2 martinis.
Charlotte was running her own campaign. She was determined to be elected wife.
To be elected wife.
When I was in high school, I drew up like a plan, and it was called Operation Hot Husband. And it was just me determined to find somebody, and that was going to be my husband one day. And of course, it didn't work out. Surprise, surprise.
Oh.
This is the lovely Miranda Hobbs.
Hello.
And her friend Steve Brady.
Oh no.
I've heard such wonderful things about you.
I accidentally did this to my ex-boyfriend. He was my boyfriend. I introduced him as my friend at a work party.
It's shocking when it is something else. You're like, oh, wait, am I this? So how do you say this?
I just did it. I didn't think about it, you know. I apologized to him after. I apologized because I felt so bad about it.
I don't believe in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. I just believe in parties.
So this Asian woman has been in these episodes throughout. Like, I've seen her repeatedly. She actually plays like the nanny in one point of Miranda's kid, and she loses the umbilical cord button, or like the belly button part of the baby, and they have this moment, and I'm pretty sure it's her. Like, she has no speaking lines, but she's always there, it feels like.
I want the like multiverse of her. Like, what is she up to?
It doesn't make sense to me. Like, why did she pop up again?
I would
can
love
only stay a
that.
few minutes. I got tickets to the vagina monologues.
Why?
Just because I don't eat at the restaurant doesn't mean I can't hear the specials.
Such a lie.
I feel like we haven't seen Stanford in a minute. But I guess it's
know.
also been like several months since we
Since
have done
actually
this
had
series.
it, yes. He goes in and out. Like, you don't have to often see. He comes, I think, more important later.
I would love to get you in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
And get each other all fresh and clean.
Well, that sounds nice.
I've never been on board with this idea. I have a friend that really loves showering.
Let you pee on me.
Yeah, you didn't get to the good part. What do you really want?
I was already like, shower together. That's ridiculous. And then the peeing came out. Golden showers in politics once again.
Yep.
Listen, I was really hoping we could spend the night together, but I have an early breakfast meeting with the Brooklyn Bridge Preservation.
Oh, there's no problem.
Not obvious at all.
I mean, if you had asked somebody to like do that, they said maybe later.
That Friday night, Charlotte.
I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't. Yeah. There's so many things about like. There's always also a level of like a trust that you would think of telling them their deepest fantasies. So like, you don't want to freak them out.
Right. So I wonder if he was on any level like, yeah, she's probably.
Yeah.
I bet by the end of this episode I might know. But see.
I'm an adventure travel junkie. I took the entire year off after business school to trek the old spice route through Asia.
Greg seems like an ultimate colonizer with this conversation of the places that he's going without like caring about the faults of like the damages. And also like the spice route. Come on, man. That was literal like detriment, like colonization.
That night, Jeff proved to Samantha that he more than made up for his shortcomings.
I feel like they made him go shorter.
Oh, she's on an apple box for sure.
Yeah. to make this even more ridiculous.
Samantha told us later, it was like having sex with a horny Smurf.
That line is so awful. Literally, he's only a couple of inches shorter than her.
Yeah.
Maybe he should just have a big head. I don't know.
Also, she's probably wearing heels.
That same night, parched and nervous, I spent another night with Bill.
Man, that was great.
That's an awful way to be with someone, is to like be anxious about what he might ask you to do.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Let's go take a shower.
I'm tense, man. I'm nervous.
It's like a horror scene, actually.
I feel like I'm watching a horror movie right now.
They don't think it's such a good idea for me to be dating a sex columnist so close to the election. You know, they thought it was kind of seamy.
What?
Wait a second. I may write about sex, but you like people to pee on you.
Yeah, but nobody knows about that.
Unless she writes about it too.
Right.
What a way to like potentially break up with someone in the shower.
Right. When he's like, but I wanted you to pee on me first.
I realized that politics had not only entered my bedroom, but my bathroom as well. And I decided then and there that my bravest political act would be to tell the truth.
Oh no. She did write about it. I wasn't expecting that.
I know, that one is a hard one. So I will give you like a curve. I'll grade you on a curve and tell you that was because if I was you, I would think something about like not being able to have an erection. Like that would make the most sense in politics. Also, no club. I'm sorry. They went to the movies instead. And they went to movies and brunch. Like it was no clubs in this one. Although technically Sam did go to a bar.
Mm-hmm. She did.
And they did throw a party.
I feel like so many of the events they go to, even though it's not a club, it feels like a club to me because they're wearing like, they're dressed to the nines.
Right.
They look so good.
They're extra.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll give you a C on that just because, you definitely pass, but
thanks. I'll take that.
I'll give you that curve.
I won't fight the C.
I do find it funny because, we know things have aged badly in a lot of ways, and this is one of those things going into like smaller people or shorter people in general, which I don't think he really was. Like it was an interesting thing of like they needed to make that comment, but also like it was all for comedy's sake. Also like sexual preferences. They really have a whole thing about golden showers anyways, because that was one of the things, like a thing mentioned, I think, in an episode in the first season when we find out that she's a sex columnist and she talks to people like about finding partners or whatnot, or threesomes. It was in the threesome episode.
Mm-hmm.
And like she just talks about that often, which is quite interesting. And then you also have to think of like, if she is a sex columnist and she is so freaked out by this, like this is still kind of tame compared to other, if you want to call it kinks or fetishes, because it's I mean, still, it's not like everybody's preference, but you're like, man, you're really like uptight for someone whose job is to write about this.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because like at that time, which wasn't that long ago, but it did feel maybe people hadn't heard of that. And it's interesting to me in terms of this show being so, it was showing these four friends, these women who were single, but sexual, but, all of these things. And we're having these conversations that were very new. So part of me feels like, people just weren't talking about that, but it does feel bizarre that she would.
Right.
Nothing against, like, if that's not your thing, that is not your thing. And,
right. And fair enough.
But yeah, exactly. But it's kind of funny that it was played for like, oh, wants to pee on me. No, I don't know about that. I never heard about that.
Publicly shaming him.
Yeah.
Because she felt rejected. Like, it's just kind of like, that's a new level. I don't know. And killing his whole career, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know if that's the way to go.
I mean, it would be like one thing if he had done something pretty horrific. Essentially what he did was say, you're hurting my campaign, which is not
he
great,
shamed her
but
a
it's
little
not
bit.
like...
He shamed her. Sure. For her job.
Right. But he didn't...
But that doesn't affect her career.
Right. And he did, I mean, some people can abuse this, but he did seem to like truly trust, hey, this is what I'm gonna do.
Right.
Now, maybe he was a little upset that she said no and then was like, actually, let's break up.
Like, he was retaliatory, sure, but not to the level that she went. So it's like, that's not exactly cool, but okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was an interesting episode. I love Steve and Miranda growing into this. Of course, we've already talked about the fallout in our previous episodes. But, the build-up is really sweet, and Steve seems to be the only good guy thus far. Poor Stanford. They really did him dirty in this series, though. I feel like it's a constant, like, they didn't have to do all this to him.
I know, and there's a part of me that's like, it is true when you're in a queer person where you go into space and you have no idea and you're like, I'm attracted to that person, but I don't want them to like, if I approach them and they're not queer and they hate me or they do something. But it feels like it comes at his expense sometimes where it's like, oh, but he's ugly though. Or like, you know what I mean?
It doesn't make the stereotype of whatever. I'm like, yeah, that's not necessary.
Yeah. And I just hope, as someone who doesn't know much of the behind the scenes, I just hope like the actor I hope he didn't feel bad. I hope they didn't make him feel bad for how he looked or anything like that.
Right. I mean, I guess that's the whole thing, is like, I often think about characters. I'm like, God, they wrote that about that person and that person's playing it. Are they okay? Because that would kill me. That would hurt my feelings quite a lot.
I've told this story before, but I had what for me was a big role. And I didn't get fired for it, but I kind of got bumped from it and the assistant director said to me, it's hard to work in a business where it's all about your looks, isn't it? And I was all like, okay.
Oh.
So you didn't like that. Okay.
Yeah, that's rude.
Yeah.
That's just, you didn't need to say that out loud. Thank you.
Yeah, you could have just been like, you're not right for this or whatever.
Right.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah. Rude. Unnecessary, sir.
Yeah. But I mean, going along with that, the short, again, that guy wasn't that short.
Right.
But that, to me, I remember in high school, I had friends who'd be like, women who would say I would never date someone shorter than me. I always thought I would like someone my height or shorter because I think it'd be easier to kiss. But that has been an enduring thing for sure. That has stuck around.
And still does. That's like one of the first things that people do to criticize other people.
Yes. And I also auditioned for a role that was going to be like Tom Cruise was going to be there. And they ask your height and then, because he's a bit shorter.
Yeah.
And then they put you on an apple box to see like if you could work with his height.
Interesting.
He's supposed to be taller than you, of course.
Of course.
So that's a real enduring thing.
Yeah. That perpetuation is odd. Like, because the average is not that tall. When people really want to squeeze into there, they're like, no, if they're not this tall, I will not date you, or this thing. I've always said it would be hard to be shorter than me. Mm-hmm. Like, I dated dudes that are my height. I don't think I've ever dated a dude that was shorter than me, but not because I didn't want to. It just didn't.
Right.
Like, I didn't see that. Or at least they lied about it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because that's another thing I know on dating apps is lying about height.
Right.
Which, I mean.
Which is really funny because you're like, eventually we'll meet you.
Well, that's the key is they have to get you in person, and then
maybe that's the thing. Maybe that's the thing I don't understand. Oh goodness. Well, that was episode 2, and we are only starting.
You have given me some hints. This season sounds like it's going to be a wild one.
It is a whopper.
I am excited and a little nervous. Yeah. Well, I'm glad we're back. I'm having fun. Can't wait to see where it goes.
Me either. I can't wait for you to see it.
Well, in the meantime, listeners, we hope that you're enjoying this. We're definitely looking at having guests and maybe doing another listener coming on.
Yeah.
Who knows when that will be? No promises, but that'd be fun to do again. But yes, if you have any thoughts, because it's on Netflix now, and now there's a lot of people are seeing it for the first time.
Apparently.
It's been interesting to read about. You can let us know. Our email is stephanie@momstuff@iheartmedia.com. You can find us on Twitter at momstuffpodcast or on Instagram and TikTok at Stuff I'll Never Told You. We also have a YouTube and a TeePublic store and a book that you can get wherever you get your books. Thanks as always to our super producer Christina, our executive producer Maya, and our contributor Joey.
Thank you.
And thanks to you for listening. Stuff I Never Told You is a production of iHeartRadio. For more podcasts from iHeartRadio, you can check out the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your favorite shows.